So, Pope Francis unfortunately passed away earlier this week at the age of 88, making him the third oldest serving pope in history at the time of his death, behind Celestine III at age 92 and Leo XIII at age 93. There's no better time than the present to go through some interesting facts about popes, so let's go through and learn a few things. This video will be divided into 3 sections of trivia with timestamps down below: birthplaces, ages, and some bonus content at the end. Pope Francis was the first ever pope to be born in South America, more specifically Argentina. There have been popes from 4 different continents now, those being Europe, Africa, Asia, and South America, with the vast majority being from Europe, of course. The first ever pope in the year 30 AD, St. Peter, was technically from the continent of Asia, being born in the Roman province of Judea, which is now modern-day Israel. The first pope born in Europe was Peter's immediate successor, Linus, who became pope in 64 AD and was born within the modern-day borders of Italy. It would take 159 years of the papacy's existence for an African-born man to become pope in the year 189 AD, that being Victor I from Roman-controlled northern Africa. Like I mentioned, Pope Francis was the first South American pope, and elected in 2013, meaning there was a 1,824-year gap since the last time we got a pope from a new continent. Maybe that means we'll finally get a North American or Oceanian pope in the year 3837. Now, it is important to make the clarification that despite there being 3 popes born in Africa and 10 popes born in Asia, specifically the Middle East, we don't know for sure if there were any popes that were not Caucasian racially. The last African pope was Gelasius I all the way back in the year 496, and during the times of the Roman Empire, racial diversity was common and therefore not recorded in historical records. So it is actually fully possible that there has been a black pope before, but this claim cannot be 100% verified one way or the other. There have been 266 popes, soon to be 267, with 217 of them being born in Italy or an Italian-controlled state. That's nearly 82% of popes who have ever served. However, we've now had 3 popes in a row who are not from Italy, with Francis being from Argentina, Benedict XVI from Germany, and John Paul II from Poland. It's decently likely that we'll have a 4th pope in a row born outside Italy, with Peter Erdo from Hungary, Luis Tegel from the Philippines, and Marc Ulay from Canada being 3 of the frontrunners going into the next conclave. Those names will probably age this video horribly in a week or two, but if any of those 3 men are elected, they would be the first pope from their respective country. I mentioned in the beginning of this video that Pope Leo XIII was the oldest sitting pope to pass away at 93, but who was the youngest? That would be Pope Benedict IX, who was actually the youngest to be elected at age 20 and the youngest to die at age 43. He was the only pope to serve multiple times non-consecutively as well. The oldest pope to be elected was Gregory XII at the age of 81 in November 1406, meaning that he was elected pope at an older age than any American has ever been elected president. Historically, the average pope serves about 7.5 years from the time of their election to the time of their death, or resignation in the case of the 6 popes who did so. However, with modern medicine and healthcare, this number is increasing, with the average pope of the last 200 years serving about 14 years. Francis falls beneath the modern average but above the historical one, with his tenure being just over 12 years. The longest serving pope in history was actually the first pope, Peter, at 34 years. However, there is a lack of hard evidence for the length of many papal tenures before the year 1400. So the longest verified pope reign would go to Pius IX at 31 years and 7 months. He was also the first pope to be photographed. The shortest pope tenure goes to Urban VII, who died just 13 days after being elected in 1590. Okay, and now here's some completely random and weird bonus pope facts that I found on the internet. Pope Formosus was put on trial for perjury 7 months after he died and was found guilty. Unfortunately, Pope John IX would later make it illegal for corpses to be put on trial. Pope John Paul II had custom pairs of Doc Martens made for him and over 100 of his staff members in 1996. The last Spaniard to be elected pope was Alexander VI, who started his tenure as pope 8 days after a man named Christopher Columbus set sail for the Americas. Pope Urban VI sentenced cardinals who conspired against him to be brutally tortured and complained when their screams weren't loud enough. Vatican City, the smallest country on earth and residency of the Pope, was not officially established until 1929, meaning that only 8, soon to be 9, popes have actually served from Vatican City as an independent country. Finally, the Pope's official car has been referred to as the Pope-mobile since 1965. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned at least one or two new facts about popes. Regardless if you identify as Catholic or not, the history behind the papacy is fascinating for anyone interested in our past and absolutely worth digging into deeper. Let me know your favorite pope fact or if I got anything wrong in this video. Remember, the disclaimer that a lot of our information on the papacy before the year 1400 is a bit shaky and can't be fully verified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.